Hello, beautiful people out there in YouTube and Facebook land. I am Demetra K of the Demetra K Show, quite obviously, right? And I'm sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Saadiq, also known as the Black Yule Brenner. And the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. Once again, thank you to YouTube and Facebook for tuning in. You are family members. Also, like to thank the moderators for each and everything that you do in holding down the comment section, as we could not and would not do this without you. Of course, you are free to block, and as Brother Reggie says, give people plane tickets out of here one way. But make sure they really doing something that deserves a one-way plane ticket. Because often I have people say, hey, why was I blocked? I'm like, I don't know, right? So make sure they really deserve it. Nevertheless, today we're going to be talking about a Fox News host by the name of Brian Kilmeade. I think that's how you say his name. Well, he was talking about exterminating homeless people who refuse help. So I'm going to show y'all a clip that I put together, and we're definitely going to have that conversation, because it's like, say what? Huh? Anyway, Donovan, how are you today?
I am ecstatic today. You guys asked me, why am I ecstatic? America's team got the win. Overtime. 64-yard kick to take it into overtime, and then, and then we finally made it. We should have lost that game. Actually, we should have lost. But Russell Wilson threw for almost 500 yards for the Giants. I mean, it was a great game if you guys saw the game. But America's back, you guys. America is back. When America team wins, America wins. But do us a favor. It's 3 o'clock here in the West Coast. So that means it's Demetra K time. Do us a favor. Hit that like button on your way in. And if you guys forget to hit it on your way in, hit it on your way out. Share, like, subscribe, do all that great stuff. If you guys want to keep these great conversations going, we have a scrolling banner at the bottom. You could do that by Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, cash, money order, however you guys want to do it. Also, don't forget to download the African Diaspora News Channel app, Google Play, Apple Store. You get great channels other than African Diaspora itself. You get the Emancipation Channel and original content from Brother Phil Scott, Demetra K, Vicky Dillard, Wongale, and a whole host of other contributors there. As a matter of fact, I found some of the contributors on the channel actually, of course, they have their own channel, but they're doing programs in addition to the African Diaspora News Channel. So you're getting all kinds of original programming as you do it. And also in the YouTube algorithm, you're not going to see videos in the YouTube algorithm that you're going to see on the platform itself. So again, African Diaspora News Channel app. Christmas is coming up. Makes a great Christmas gift. Birthdays, graduation, because knowledge is power. But let's get into this subject. As you know, as a California person, Demetra, we are very versed on homeless issues, as California, under Democratic rule, has gone into the toilet. $20 billion plus missing that was supposed to be spent on the homeless issue, and it's gone, and the problem got worse. So here we go.
Yes, indeed. And once again, hello to everybody. And once I'm done, we're going to start with the comments on the bottom, because it'll take me forever to catch up. Miss Sweets, how you doing? I hope you're doing well today. So anyway, yesterday, I think it is, this particular clip that I'm going to show you was trending, and people was like, huh? Now, again, it's Fox News host Brian Kilmeade and Lawrence Jones. They are on a show called Fox and Friends. Now, you're going to see the first clip is going to be an apology, and then you're going to see what happened, right? And then, of course, I'll get into a little bit more of that. So, Jersey Rick, how you doing? Easy E in the building. All right, here we go.
And it actually happened when we were together on Wednesday, Lawrence. In the morning, we were discussing the murder of Irina Zaruska in Charlotte, North Carolina, and how to stop these kinds of attacks by homeless, mentally ill assailants, including institutionalizing or jailing such people so they cannot attack again. Now, during that discussion, I wrongly said they should get lethal injections. I apologize for that extremely callous remark. I'm obviously aware that not all mentally ill homeless people act as the perpetrator did in North Carolina, and that so many homeless people deserve our empathy and compassion. Lawrence, back to you.
All right, thanks, Brian. I'll see you tomorrow. billions of dollars to mental health and the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection. Or something. Just kill them.
Yeah, Brian, why did it have to get to this point?
Right. I would say this. We're not voting for the right people. In North Carolina, wake up.
Right. So y'all heard it yourself, right? And look how the brother is looking. Because, you know, the brother at first, he was doing a little too much tap dancing. He was tap dancing real hard. Yeah, you know, we need to lock him up and this, like that. And then Brian, that's, you know, the white guy there, he was like, basically, yeah, we need to, you know, they don't want to take the help. We'll give them lethal injection. At the end of that, what he was saying, it was like, yeah, we'll just kill him. It's like, what? And the brother was like, what? I see. You went a little too far, okay? I was with you when we was talking about they need to be incarcerated, but you talking about, you know, giving them the poke and then sending them on the glory? Anyway, I'm gonna remove them. And then, of course, you know, the lady there was like, yeah, you know, why does it even need to come to this point? So she wasn't horrified. Like most people, I think, heard that again. That happened like last Wednesday. Again, he was saying they were talking about Irana Zaruski, the white woman that was, you know, shanked by DeCarlos Brown. I think that's his name. The homeless individual that had a whole bunch of mental health issues or whatever. Sounds like he was in and out of jail to the tune of like 14 times. Of course, they're after the black judge that let him out. And I think the mayor or whatever it is. So that, you know, they're pretty mad at her. And they should be, right? Because that lady did not deserve what happened to her. But there Brian is talking about, well, yeah, you know, we need to go on and give them lethal injections if they don't want to get the help. So you say they, and now he was talking about that situation. What was he talking about? Was he talking about homeless people in general? Was he talking about homeless black people? Now, we know that black Americans and black people in general throughout the United States is the most homeless population in the United States, right? And it's like Donovan said, especially in California, the most homeless. And I'd imagine that's the case there in North Carolina, where he was talking about, you guys need to wake up, right? And if these people don't want help, then you need to, you know, how, like, what are they supposed to do? Like, come here, come over here. You won't get the help. So, you know, bend over. Like, how's that supposed to eat? Like, what has to be going through your mind, right? What has to be going through your mind? We just lethal injection. Like, he didn't even bite his tongue. He didn't even stutter. He wasn't like, oh, that's a little too far. Right? He was like, yeah, y'all need to wake up. And the brother was like, But most people were like, now how come he ain't losing his job? Most people would have been fired for saying like something like that, because in essence, that's eugenics speak, right? How do we get rid of, because eugenics was, about the Negro Project, right? How do we get rid of these Negroes? Because they're no longer a service to us per se, right? Now they're a burden. But the other part of that was, and the downtrodden, right? The burdens on society. So homeless people are burdens on society. So that goes back to that eugenics conversation, which Donovan and I were talking before we came on here. And he was basically like, wow, where is this racism and these things coming from, right? Like the civil rights movement was, 60 plus years ago, and it's still here. And it's like, well, those conversations just went dormant, right? It's not like they never have a eugenics conversation. It's not like they never have conversations about racism. They have them, and now we're starting to hear them, have them out loud, right? Because they're emboldened. Yes, Trump is in the White House. And of course, you guys know all about Charlie Kirk. We've talked about that a couple times, and unfortunately, people are losing their jobs because they're, in a sense, seen to be celebrating and all this other stuff. And you know who Charlie Kirk was at this point, but people are like saying these things and they don't have a problem with it, right? And so he got on there, gave his little weak apology. Well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. It's just, we're having a conversation. It's like anybody else would have lost their damn job talking about killing. You're talking about killing people, right? Now, homeless people, I don't know why they don't want help. It's for a whole lot of reasons, right? And I saw Texas Barabbas, I think you said that you had a bout with homelessness, and I'm glad that you are not in that situation anymore. But just you hearing that is like, what? Like something like that goes through, that could have been me, right? They talking about, because like another thing is, what kind of help you talking about, right? Are you going to lock me up in a facility? We know that a lot of these homeless shelters aren't safe. Right? They say, oh, and I've talked to people who've gone to homeless shelter. There's a lot of things that go on in there, like you can't really close both of your eyes in there because it's dangerous, right? But the alternative that, just like I said, rolled out of his lips is let we just kill him. That's very gruesome. Donovan?
The more we think things are changing, the more they remain the same. Let me remind you guys, and real quick, I just want to put this out there. If the homeless shelters as we know it now are a bad situation, why wouldn't they be? Think of the horrors you hear about foster care. Think about that. Foster care, and now you want to put people in a homeless shelter. Look at the nightmares from foster care. I can only imagine these people's minds, what would happen in a mandatory homeless encampment, basically. But let's go back in time and let's think about why these ideas are so venomously espoused today. During the Great Depression, Germany suffered way more than most countries during the Great Depression because they owed war reparations, right, to the powers that beat them. So they were just like done. And anybody that would say anything, they had no problem listening to. Thus came the rise of the Nazi Party, a very small party. At first, people thought they were a fringe, and you guys know the story. They thought they were very fringe, and they're just talking. They're never going to be a threat, right? Then, as the Nazi Party in 1933 came to power in a coalition government, what were some of the ideas that the Nazi parties came up with? Euthanasia of the infirmed, euthanasia of the mentally challenged and disabled. They said people that basically did not have a purpose should not be here. And they put them in concentration camps, real concentration camps, and they were systematically liquidated. So, I look at what comes out of certain groups of people's mouths, and I notice there's like a combination of one thing that is common. They are white European type folks that have no problem with this type of situation as long as it's not their group. Have you guys noticed that? And I'm using white as an adjective. I don't care if you're from Germany, Paris, Azerbaijan, Turkey, whatever you identify yourself with. They all think in the same homicidal ways. Have you guys noticed that? And, so I'm not surprised that this type of stuff would be being espoused. But in a land that is supposed to be free, you have a right as a citizen of this country. If you want to live outside on the public sidewalk, you have a right to do that. What is their definition of freedom? Freedom is exactly what it's supposed to mean. Freedom. But see, subconsciously, they don't mean that for us or anybody that doesn't look like their group. Like these laws that are in this country. I saw a lady the other day. She was pulled over because she did not have a license plate in the front of her car. She had a license plate in the back of the car. And I'm watching as the police are pulling her over. And of course, it's a black woman. So she's going ballistic, right? And she's asking me to do something. And I said, ma'am, I had to try to explain to her. The law says you've got to have a plate in the front. Just take the ticket and go fight it in court. But she ended up getting, other charges because she didn't know how to act. But my point of this is this. Now, me and Demetra get into this all the time. Why are we surprised at a system that is not set up for us? It's set up for them. Thus, this goes back to what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Louis Farrakhan and all the ancestors before us have been saying. Get our own. When you are at the mercy of another person's system, that's just the way it's going to be. Because none of us have the wherewithal to back up what we're saying and take up arms and do what we need to do. And right now, if you guys saw what's going on in Britain, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to that. Of course, the American news doesn't say anything. There was over 100,000 Britons protesting immigration in their country. But America, when we have problems, what do? We get mad, we yell and scream, but we go and pay it. Gas prices go up, we go and pay it, no problem. So something to think about.
Absolutely. And once again, hello to everybody that's on here. Yeah, I have been following the news in regards to what's going on in the UK per se. Like I said, it was 100,000 people, white people from what it looks like right there, protesting immigration. They want everybody to go home. They want everybody over there. But then I saw somebody took a video of them draped in the British flag and they getting some food from the Arabs. They was like, but they're literally... We're just protesting, talking about go home, now they, pulling up to get something to eat from the foreigners per se. It's like, boy, you can't take them seriously at all. Y'all wasting people time, right? But the other thing to that is, yeah, y'all, they talking about go home is like, why don't y'all call all y'all people from all over the globe home? Say, y'all come home, everybody go back to where you are, because in essence, there's a lot of people who are displaced from other parts of the world, because them people in the UK have destabilized governments and a whole host of other things, right? So now a lot of people are like, well, we over there, right? Or they try to come over here or whatever the case is. But yeah, if they all go back to Europe, then problem solved. I mean, I'm just saying. But yeah, back to this dude, Brian Kilmity. I think that's how you say his name. No pun intended. But yeah, that's right. Like American is apple pie. Yeah, we just kill them. Right? They don't want to get the help. We just take them on out of here. And like y'all said, there has been a lot of backlash, and he gave a little weak apology or whatever the case is, but it's Fox News. So they're probably like, man, just say something, whatever the case is, just get it over with, or whatever the case is. But yeah, Fox News, they talk like that. That's kind of how they believe about other people. But there's no doubt in my mind, since he was talking about a black man, that he's talking about black people. Just take them out of here again. That's why we have to study history, because that's what eugenics was about. Get rid of the Negro, right? We need to sterilize them, get them out of here as much as we can, right? That's why I always talk about, especially in regards to like the blue states or the blue cities where crime is high and, seemingly they can do something about it. To me, it's city-sanctioned genocide. We've been trying to get rid of the Negroes forever, right? And a lot of y'all who think it's just the Republicans, it's both of them. Right? Both parties have a bunch of white supremacists and a bunch of people who do the bidding of white supremacy. Y'all can look that up in regards to MLK. I won't ruin your day. But they know that goes on there. So they said, let them pew each other to death, right? Well, we can do things, but we're not. Let them take care of each other. That way we don't have to do it. But I think in a sense, Trump in a backwards way has kind of foiled that plan, because Trump is doing it for the white folks, right? But as I said, black people are getting an inadvertent benefit from Trump going in there with the National Guards and things like that. So yeah, he wasn't saying nothing that they don't talk about at the dinner table. And for those of us who, then I say us and me collectively, think racism is gone somewhere, where did it go? Now, there was a point in time, like you said, during civil rights and afterwards, where it was unfashionable, right? To just say, let's go get us one, get in the truck, everybody, right? They did that undercover. Not that they didn't do it, they just didn't do it unapologetically out loud, right? Before they could do it, and everybody in the town knew they did it. The judges, the DAs, the police, they just string them up, Bob. I did. Yes, I did. He looked at my wife. Okay, don't worry about it. We're going to go to court. And then everybody's in on the fix and you'll be free, right?
Yeah, didn't that happen to Maitrice Richardson recently in history? Maitrice Richardson.
Well, yeah, and Los Angeles.
He let her out late at night, which is, it was crazy. And then she ends up, it's sad. It's a sad ending.
Yeah, not to bring her up, but Kamala Harris was at the helm of that, right? But I ain't gonna get too far up into the weeds with that. But yeah, that's how they get down. So as facts not feelings, you said, we knew this was gonna take place, right? But what are we gonna do about it, right? What are we going to do about it? We're just going to get mad and say, oh my God, he said the loud part, the quiet part out loud. They want to just You know, just, I mean, I'm not laughing, but it's crazy, right? It's just crazy, right? Just stick out your eye, just take the infusion. You're going night-night. You say goodbye, okay? Don't worry about the tent. We'll just sweep it up one. Like, that is it's so creepy. But you know the crazy part? There's probably a lot of people like, well, I don't see the problem. They don't want to get help. They're just a burden. You know, I'm tired of walking outside and seeing the homeless. There's a lot of people who are like, I don't see what he said was wrong. That's where
they said the same thing in Nazi Germany. Or not, it wasn't Nazi Germany, but in Germany during the Great Depression, the same thing. These people are a burden, right?
Well, put them out of their misery because they're miserable anyway, right? They'll thank us later, kind of. So yeah, let's see who else came on here. And Bakari, how you doing? Let's see. TG, how you doing? It says therapists are $75 an hour or more, making mental health care hard to impossible to access without health insurance. Yeah, it is hard to access, right? Even people with health insurance is like, or your insurance don't cover that part. It is like, but I'm really about to go stir crazy up in here. Okay, I need to talk to somebody.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. What does a therapist actually do? And I go to a therapist paid for by the taxpayer, of course. But if you can't get to a professional therapist, the second best thing is talk to somebody. Talk to somebody that has some sense. Don't talk to somebody who's going to just, co-sign on the foolishness. Just talk to somebody like an uncle or somebody that is like, even-handed, and that will go wonders. Keep everything locked up. It isn't going to help the situation. The problem is we don't talk to each other anymore.
And some of the people talk to us too much, and we're like, "Shut up!" I'm just playing. M, how you doing? It says check out a California homeless report done by Jimmy Dore on YouTube. Guess where the billions spent on fixing homeless? This is going with Keith McHen. It says the Jimmy Dore show. Okay, I can only imagine, right? Ricardo, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Sister Marcella, what is going on with you? He says, when I seen all the homeless here in Sacramento, my husband and I saw them building this building next to the freeway where all the homeless were. I told my husband that was a place where they're going to cut off, but like, I don't know, right? And I know especially they're in Northern California, especially the Asians. I think it's in Koreatown. They're saying, hey, you got all these tents up in here. Y'all need to do something, right? So I don't know. I hope not, but there's some people like we need a solution to the homelessness, right? There is solutions, but they just don't want to implement, right? Like you said, somebody's stealing money or misappropriating it anyway.
And the thing is, in California, do you think Gavin Newsom and the Democrats that are in power cared about homelessness? No, they don't. They didn't care about cleaning it up seriously until it's about the money. What's coming to Los Angeles in a few years? The Olympics. They don't want the world to see America in its raw. You know what I mean? So now they're sweeping all the homeless, and unfortunately, here's their idea of sweeping out the homeless out of LA. They send them to the other counties. So I got a lot of people coming out to my county, and it's just a back and forth thing, and they just want them out of there until after they make the money. But that's what's going on. They just sweep it under the rug, and they just push the people out of the county. And they've criminalized, Democrats have done this. They've criminalized homelessness.
Yeah, that and the United States Supreme Court was like, yeah, y'all, it's not a crime, or against the Constitution to lock them up and, all that kind of stuff. But like you said, Donovan, watch the events that go on in certain towns, right? They did the same thing in Atlanta back in the day when the Olympics was going through there. Man, everybody was catching the charge, right? Everybody was getting the case. And like you said, it's going to LA in a couple years. You ain't even gonna see or hear about none of the stuff that goes on there now, right? They go, man, check on your peoples. That's all I'm gonna say, because they know that tourists, they watch the news and stuff in LA, right? If you've gone lately, it's just like, let me get on out of here. So a lot of tourists are probably like, I just watched the Olympics from the house, from Germany or whatever. And there's a lot of money to be made when people, go to the Olympics or whatever the case is. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of just foolishness going on against people who are just simply unhoused, right? And there's a lot of people who there's different reasons why people are unhoused, but I don't know. Anyway, fair use.
Well, let's be real. What's the biggest reason a lot of people are unhoused? Because inflation, the lack of jobs, lack of resources. I mean, we could put it all in a ball. I mean, this is all by design at this point. It's all by design because it just doesn't make sense how certain groups are marginalized and other groups are thriving.
Yeah, Norma, you fair usually crazy talking about a long kiss goodnight. Norma, you're absolutely right. Says these are the people who call themselves Christians, quote unquote. Yeah, you gotta say that lightly because it's like, what Bible y'all reading out of? All this stuff y'all be talking about doing to people, and it's just y'all know I don't go to church, and I'm not saying nothing bad about church. I just personally don't go. I feel like I can get enlightenment somewhere else, right? And then I know a lot of those pastors are preaching from the ideology of the white pastors from the plantation, right? So I just abstain, and I know the Bible and for the most part, things like that. But yeah, those are the same people who tell you are ungodly, right? You evil, and then and we got to remember too, the Triple K clan, or whatever the case is, they are rooted in Christianity. So it's like, is that what we supposed to be doing? Where does it say that you just hunt black people down and do the most heinous things to them, right? So yeah, I don't be listening to them people talk about they Christians, not at all, right? Because to be a Christian is to be what? Christ-like. So where is Christ running around hunting down black people, calling them the N-word and a whole bunch of other stuff that's adverse to anybody, right? That's directly against the will of Jesus, if you will. So I don't be listening to them.
Hey, Jesus was a communist. It ain't gonna work in a capitalist system. He was a communist.
I mean, he very well may have been, right? But he damn sure wasn't on the stuff they talking about. Hey, Ernest, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Fact Not Feeling says what he's doing with he says what he's going to do with get serious about defense. What Donovan said, take personal defense seriously. So your comments kind of jumble a little bit, but you're basically piggybacking off what Donovan said. Take it seriously. How will you protect yourself, right? I got a good frying pan. Enuma says the country is doomed. Yeah, it's a prophecy, right? Tracy, how you doing? Sister Shirley says we as black people in this country can't save our way out of poverty. If you think otherwise, you don't understand economics. Yeah, you're absolutely right, which is why the call for reparations is important. It's very important. We need our shmoney because it says that it's going to take about 232 years, probably longer than that now, right? To close the wealth gap between black Americans and white people here in America. So yeah, we need our money. And it's not if, it's when. You gon' ante up, right? So yeah. Harley, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see, who else haven't I seen? And skipping on down. And JJE says too many of our folks get their advice from the ignorant behavior that's displayed on reality TV shows. I sure hate that. I'd really love to be able to sit up here and call you a liar. You're lying. But you're right. I don't really watch a whole lot of TV at all. I watch some. I didn't watch TV at all today, and I didn't go anywhere. I had some things to do, but I didn't watch TV. I thought about turning it on, but I was like, I ain't gonna pay attention to it, right? But you're right. There's a lot of people who get their information and behaviors, if you will, from things like reality TV, and they acting. Right? They trying to keep their spot for TV. They gotta act a fool and a whole donkey to come back next year, right? They gotta get what they call the peach. If they're gonna get their peach for the Atlanta Housewives, they get your peach for next year, right? So you're not what they call a friend of the show, where you just come on every once in a while. Hey, right? You want to be one of the main stars. You got to really just be doing the most. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who don't know the difference.
Yeah, did you hear Whoopi Goldberg? They interviewed her, and Whoopi Goldberg says that she can't afford to retire.
Yes, she did said that years ago. I remember that interview. She said she can't afford it, and a lot of people are blown away by it, right? But see, the other thing is you got to think of, because a person makes a lot of money, that don't mean that they're keeping it. I don't know. Whoopi sounds like when she was giving an explanation, she's got other people that depends on her, maybe her lifestyle, whatever it is. It takes for her to keep on working or whatever the case is, or maybe she won't keep money for a very long time. But yeah, she's just speaking the truth. There's a lot of people, well, I make 6 figures. All right, cool. How much of that do you keep? None of it. I'm in debt up to my eyeballs. I got a note on the door the other day. They're gonna foreclose on my home. I'm hiding and playing hide and seek with my cars, right? They live in quiet lives of desperation, but they run around telling you, "Oh, I'm making 6 figures." But it's like, again, how much are you keeping? Oh, nothing. Matter of fact, I was gonna ask you for $1. You know, it's like I'm making 1 figure. You asking me for $1? Let's see, who else haven't I seen? Mac, how you doing? Since they got rid of the mental hospitals. That's another thing, right? They got some like for the criminally insane and all that other stuff, but the mental hospitals, they're no better off. I would imagine. I ain't been in one, so I can't really speak to them like that. But I remember the mental hospitals from back in the day, right? Mental illness, I guess. I don't know. Hospitals back in the day where they do lobotomies on people and shock therapy, and it was a lot. And sometimes I watch things where they say a lot of those institutions that are closed down are haunted because of all the horrors that they exacted upon patients there. So I don't know if they're any different than now. I do know that especially like prisoners that may have some behavioral issues, they dope them up, right? They give them drugs and they're just doped out of their mind. So a lot of that is true for some mental hospitals. But like you said, they've gotten rid of a lot of them.
But ask yourself this, isn't this really, see, and then this is why I get on you guys so much about politics and knowing what's going on at the local level, where your tax dollars are being spent. You guys are out there busting your ass every day, working these jobs, and they're taking part of your check for the supposed common good of everybody. And you guys don't even know what they're doing with it. And we're rewarding these people that are sitting up in these capitals, doing the budgeting, and their idea of balancing the budget is cutting services to people who need it. Under Ronald Reagan, that was one of the things that he cut, was the federal, institutions for mentally whatever. And then the states followed suit so they can save some money. They just said, throw the people out in the streets. So you don't have that anymore, right? And Dimitri, I don't know if you remember, yesterday, one of my representatives was caught playing video games while he's sitting in the assembly. What is your thought on that? But see, this is what I'm saying. When you guys are not on their throats, this is the type of stuff that they do. Let them eat cake. He's playing video games when he's supposed to be solving problems.
Absolutely, African Native is very deceptive, right? Not always, but in my opinion, sometimes, right? Corey Jackson is his name. Corey Jackson, yes. I'm not surprised by that. He's playing games. He don't care about the peoples. We think these people go there and they care about the peoples. They don't care. They collected a check, and like you said, he was on the clock. You're supposed to be a man, at least pretend. Sit up at attention. I'll tell y'all a story one time, okay? I think I could tell the story. I'm going to tell you where I was working. But let's say I was a proctor, okay? And when you're a proctor, you're supposed to make sure people ain't cheating. Well, I had to proctor, and it's a boring job, to be quite honest. And I had to proctor one person. So I'm sitting in a room or whatever the case is, and you're not supposed to be doing anything but watching that person. Man, I was like, listen, I brought me a book, and I put it into the folder that they give you. And I had the book in the folder. Man, I read that whole book. But the point is, nobody knew I was reading the book, right? I was esoteric in what I was doing. But especially these politicians, it doesn't surprise me that he was playing video games on the client. He don't care about people. He's like, I'm going to collect a check. I'm going to say, oh, yes, I, or nay. And then I'm going to go home. So he just got busted. And guess what? Who's going to check him? Who's going to check him? But he'll probably more than likely be right back up in office next year after everybody saw him playing video games and, all the foolishness he has going on.
Well, I don't know. He's running against Ed Delgado and the police association, so he might not be up there.
You know what? I don't know nothing about Ed Delgado, but
remember he was the undersheriff of Riverside, the third highest sheriff. Mm-hmm. And when you got the police association behind you, that's a lot of money. And Corey ain't got that kind of money.
Yeah, I hope he clean his clock. I really do. You know what I mean? Because regardless of who wins at this moment, Black people will not benefit, I'm sure. Ed Delgado, he's pro-police, But yeah, Corey need to be up out of there and go get a real job, homie. You know, because you ain't gonna be able to play your video games while you're cashiering at Walmart. You're gonna have to wait till you go on your break.
Right. And for those of you guys that don't know who Corey Jackson is, there's a bald-headed, light-skinned dude and Corey Jackson. They're part of the California Coalition. This Negro was one of the Negroes that was behind the reparations bill not coming to the floor. You'll see him up there in the interviews when it was all being proposed. And then when I question them about why did he do that to that bill? Oh, it wasn't my bill. They never want to take responsibility when it's something that's going to make them look bad. But yet you're up there taking the pictures with Gavin Newsom, whatever. So he was one of the Negroes that stopped Black reparations in California.
Yeah.
The Martin Luther King Jr. of the California Assembly, by the way.
He had a black leprechaun of the California Assembly. Calvin says they spend over $1 million on the homeless. Says, and nothing has changed. There are people who are profiting off the homeless. Think about it. Oh, absolutely. Like, who gonna check me, boo? You know, we'll cipher this money off to this, that, and the other, and just be, you know, a lot of chicanery going on. Both parties are treacherous. How you doing? So Dimitri K, capitalism breeds competition. Competition breeds selfishness. Capitalism requires infinite growth on the planet with finite resources. Capitalism is a suicidal ideology. Yes, and I think capitalism also should be defined because in the sense that you're talking about, absolutely right, the oligarchy and all of that, they only care about themselves, but capitalism and the means of getting money, right, to make some to help take care of your family, that's not bad, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, the oligarchy is like, they're going to F around and find out. And if you've read the Communist Manifesto, you know what that means. Enuma says the gatekeepers have failed our people miserably. Yep. But guess what, though? Hey, Arson, how you doing? Other part is we let them. Like, why do we keep letting these gatekeepers in the gate and giving them the key? We let them. You know, Maxine Waters, James Clyburn, all of them, right? And Sheila Jackson Lee. Sheila, you know, we let them. We let them. We keep giving them the key to the gate. And then we cry and say, well, you know, you'll never do nothing for us. And they like, you big dummy. Every 2 years, right? A lot of them, they're reelected every 2 years. Y'all let me come in there with a fish fry, funky fish fry, I should say. And, you know, we might dance to Frankie Beverly and Maze. And you might get a little hot sauce, a hush puppy. Then we think, oh, wow, he's really doing something for us. There was even a congresswoman who was handing out the water bottles and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, okay, well, you're giving us the water bottles more than likely because the water that's pumping into our sinks, we can't drink, you know. But yeah, that's on us. We keep letting them, giving them the key. So at what point do we to our own selves and say, stop that? I'm just asking, hey, Mad Dog, how you doing? Let's see who else is in the building. Virgo, how you doing? Says real life ones flew over the cuckoo's nest. Come on now, man. That Jack Nicholson, that movie was a trip. It says mental hospitals then and now are a joke. Nurse Ratched, right? Ain't that where Nurse Ratched came from? One flew over the cuckoo's nest. That movie was a trip, but it was very telling because that's what they do. They did. I don't know if they still do. Yeah, they.
But you know, but you also got to think about these institutions that used to exist, and even the ones that are still existing today, the foster care and all this other horror stories that you hear there. We know we have loved ones in these institutions. Let's even talk about our senior homes out there, right? Senior centers and senior homes where we send our seniors. You know, back in the day, Black folks didn't do that, but now it's more prevalent that we're going to send these people off to some place. I don't think that that's bad to send them there. It's when you don't visit and check up and make sure your loved one is being treated correctly. I think that's the problem with a lot of us. We are so infected with our lives that we send them off to this place to be abused and we don't worry about it. You know, Black people especially, we're reactive. We're not proactive. We're reactive. Oh, grandma just got assaulted. How does an 87-year-old woman come up with chlamydia in the nursing home? And now we want to raise holy hell about what's going on in the nursing home. You guys see what I'm saying? Dimitri, it happens. You know it happened. The old people are still having sex, you know.
I don't know by example, okay? But yeah, you're right. They do come. Lord have mercy. Grandma got chlamydia. That's crazy. Hey, Angela, how you doing? Thank you so much for the super sticker. Love it. Appreciate you for that. Donovan. Only Donovan. We'll talk about grandma having chlamydia. Let's see. Who else haven't I seen? Yeah, Miss Sweets, I'm just saying, Corey need to be cashiering at Walmart. It seemed like he got a little bit too complacent on the job that he's on, right? So he needs to be on his feet, swiping, taking off the metal detector things or whatever the case. So he can humble himself. And next time, if he get back in the position, he'll actually appreciate it. I don't know. I've had some jobs that humble me. And yes, I used to work at Walmart back in the day. 1993 was a year. It was a very terrible year. But guess what? I learned a lot of things. Let's see who else. And MC Fact says, MLK says, we're coming to get our check, and we still coming to get it, right? You can best believe that. Ricardo says they'll mess around and get, I ain't finna say that. But yeah, y'all better stop. Diane, how you doing? Jesus. Y'all done came up with a term already? Don't get me in trouble, okay? For Quan, he says the Demotrix, damn. Plan is to replace Freeman with Latino labor and gentrification of Freeman. The black politicians are ignoring us like they are supposed to. Yeah, they're told to do that. But guess what? The plan backfired. Old Trumpy Trump got back in office, and Kamala's now on the book tour, throwing old Joe under the bus.
And she isn't even doing it very well. She's just trying to rehabilitate. What you guys see Kamala Harris doing, like most politicians, this is called the rehabilitation tour. But regardless if she's going to run for president in 2028, she has to face a primary. And that's not going to be good for her. So again, African Native says the recovering Democrat, he says, call it elder romance instead. Okay, I'm going to start calling it elder romance because it sounds better. It's still sex at the end of the day, but elder romance. Okay, elder romance.
Just be safe, I'm just gonna say it says Maxine Waters cosplaying. Y'all, what is wrong with y'all today? Cosplaying James Brown. She on one. Jesus. Allie says we too trusted. Yep, absolutely. Miss Sweet says true Donovan senior citizen home foster care and daycares. Yeah, they be getting it on to the break of dawn. Both parties says Demetri Dems will never take voters seriously until voters get serious by threatening what Dems care about, big donor and power. We must vote for only third party independent from top to bottom. Yeah, I agree. People who are definitely going to serve our best interest. The Democrats were never designed to help us. The Republicans either. They were never designed, but for whatever reason, we are more loyal to the Democrats than any other party. We think they're a party of black people because, they got some pretty snazzy people in there that be walking tall and talking tough. And they got all these little taglines that they got. And I'm reclaiming my time. And you bleach, bond, bad built body, and we think, ooh, they talking about us. They talking to us, right? And it's like, they ain't saying ish, but a little bit, to be honest with you, right? So, yeah. We got to stop aligning with a party that does not align with us. And again, I'm not saying that's the Republicans. We already know how the Republicans feel about us. You can go on X and they tell you all day long, right? You got Trump and all these other people, big time Republicans, supposed to be minding their business in the party, the office that they are, but they get on Twitter, getting in the mud, right? Or talking about the things we talking about. It's like they read the blogs too. So we never thought that the Republicans liked us. But we're unlearning that the Democrats like us. They don't like us. If you like something, you make sure that they're better off, right? I got a good friend, and he says, whenever I date a woman, regardless if that's my woman or not, he says, I'm always going to make sure she's better off when we break up than when I found her, right? If she needs something and I got it, I'm gonna make sure she's got it. If her children need something, if I got it, I'm gonna make sure they got it because I'm not just laid up with her, whatever the case is. But the Democrats don't do that for us. They've never left us better off. Never. And as of lately, they ain't even promising they gonna do that. They don't think about it. When is the last time you really heard, other than when they're trying to rebuttal something that the Republicans have said about black people? When is the last time you ever heard the Democrats say anything about black people? When? We're going to do a study. We ain't even heard them say that. Like I said, last time we heard somebody was Ayanna Pressley. We want $3 trillion, for
And no leg work. She didn't put no leg. She just made a statement and walked off.
And ain't heard from that lady since. You know, we heard more about the spaceship that's coming to Earth than we've heard from her about reparations. And then after that, she was trying to barricade herself into a ICE detention center. So yeah, we do need to think about other means. And then as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, ain't nobody in the White House gonna do anything for Black people, right? So we need to be doing for ourselves. So we got to start having that conversation too. We got to stop talking about the Democrats and the Republicans and all these other people more so than we talk about what we're doing for ourselves. And I'm going to tell you this. A lot of these shills, I ain't going to say their names just yet, but now they coming on over, oh, what we got to do for self. We should be funded it, but y'all wasn't talking like that before. So now y'all want to use
and they're only saying that, Demetra, to get your vote, and then they're going to get back in there and do what? Nothing. Yeah. Real quick, Emperor Norris Graves is on. He has a question for you if you get a chance.
I'm going all the way to Mr. Norris. I see somebody with a whole bunch of, so I don't even know what you're talking about. Mr. Norris, she says, question, what do you do, I think, when you live in an area that is unincorporated and the only politicians we have to vote for are Black Democrats? We only have commissioners who don't respond to our complaints. That is a very good question. Now, if that is true indeed the case where it's just them, get some other people to run. It don't have to be somebody who's, you know, as they say, a career politician. And Donovan knows how I feel about, I'm not a politician. It's like, stop lying. If you're running for office, you're a politician, right? You ain't got a lie to kick it. But find somebody that's out of the ordinary. A lot of times you don't have to have these fancy degrees and this, that, and the other, right? To be a city council person, you could be an average Joe. You got to know a little something, right? But then,
hey, I have a mayor in my city that was working at a taco stand and took a white envelope from a developer and became mayor.
Yeah, y'all. He's his last term, right? He's finite at that. So yeah, but find somebody who has the heart for people, right? Not necessarily the heart of the people, because there's a lot of politicians that have the heart of the people, like the people that we really love, and those are some good old fish that they be dropping in the grease. But you need to get people who have a heart for people, because when you put people in positions that have a heart for people, they legislate for the people, right? And like I always said, I don't care that politicians get that little white envelope here, but make sure you get that white envelope and your district is nice. There ain't no potholes, and that, you know, people are saying, you know what, I don't know what he or she doing, but guess what? My neighborhood is fully functioning. You know, we got everything we need, but everything is good here. We have no complaints. But see, the problem with a lot of those politicians, not just Democrats, but both of them, seem like there's a lot of Black women Democrats, though, they on the funky stuff, right? They getting caught up with a lot of chicanery. But there's nothing wrong with them getting something. Just make sure you do for the people. They not doing that. They're like, who gonna check me, boo? So yeah, find somebody who actually wants to help and do the right thing. Daryl says, I heard STDs are on the rise in nursing homes. Yeah, because they're like, Glotadine, you can't get pregnant. You right, boo. But it's like you could get something else. Pregnancy be the least of her concerns, right? Some of that stuff you can't get rid of. You know, old Rufus and ran around all of the Rufus and Glotadine, right?
Well, they're on their way out. They might as well go out with a bang, literally.
Yeah, some of them in there doing something a little bit, they're taking being gay a little too literally, right? I'm just saying. Whew. Allie says, I can't see how folks still vote Democrats. I used to be a Democrat. I ain't gonna lie to kick it. I used to be when I was a diehard Democrat. I fell on my knees when Obama got elected. My brother would tell you, because I'm gonna tell the story because I don't want him to be telling it and then y'all think I was lying. Yes, I was a Democrat once. Rodney says a large amount of Black American politicians are selling their own people. Been doing it, right? They've been doing that. Let's see who else is on here. Animal Advocate, how you doing? Says, yeah, Jasmine Crockett rather has been quiet lately. I think she was on the Breakfast Club. I didn't watch it because I'm sure it was gonna be the same old, you know, and all of that. And it's just okay. What next? Buckhorse says the mothership is here. Shalom. Yeah, we'll find out, right? They said it'll be here in October and all that. And so I'm kind of excited because I know they don't want us, right? I know they not, if they coming, you know, to get froggy, they not finna leave with us. We just Gonna watch it all go down. I really believe that. Asha, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Dear self, what is up with you? Let's see. Reality. I know you said you wish we do the call, and we just gotta remember to do it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I be scared because people be on here be acting up, right? And I'm like, oh my God, why did you do that?
Yeah, real quick, Michelle W. says politicians do not care about their constituents. You know what, Michelle? I'm going to have to disagree with you, because if you go down to La Jolla, if you go down to parts of Orange County, it looks like the Wizard of Oz down there, nice and clean. Everything is in the right place, how it's supposed to be. And these are Republican districts here in California, where the Republicans, there ain't a lot of Republicans in California, but where there are Republican enclaves, Dimitri, am I lying?
No, in fact, did you see? I forget what part of Orange County it was, but I don't know, the Proud Boys, they wearing them tight ass khakis, run around. They was there yesterday talking about white men stand up, and there was some white men was like, man, shut the F up. Okay. Ain't nobody finna be doing all this foolishness with you, and take those tight pants off, because I know, you can't breathe.
Yeah, so I'm not saying, I know what you're saying in general, but to me, it's amazing to me that where the white folks are being represented as a majority, they have nice neighborhoods. Here in my city, the white people come to city council to argue about the look of the plant, not the plantation, but what do you call that, Demetra?
You ain't lying, it's a plantation.
yeah, the way it looks, the aesthetics of the community, where I'm fighting graffiti every day, where I live, but they're worried about, oh, I can't see the mountains because there's too many trees and the city's not cutting back the trees. So please explain to me, how is it that a certain group of people, they could live in heaven? And I think Elijah Muhammad talked about this. The white man is experiencing their heaven right here on earth, but most of us are we're experiencing the other place.
Exactly. Hey, Andre, how you doing? Long time no see. Hope that you are well. Easy, I'm just saying, Rufus is, he like a fox in the hen house, and where the picking is a plenty. I ain't even got to sneak up on them. They just, hey, how you doing?
As they're doing the line dancing, right after the line dance, a concert's over.
Nah, they doing a conga up in there, okay? Yeah, King Noble, yeah, they hugging with them tight tan pants on. Daryl says, I give the Republicans credit for that, Donovan. Most of their district are safer and cleaner. Yeah. And somebody said, I can't remember who it was, why don't I run for office? I'm not gonna be there for long. Shout out to Keith Sweat. Okay. They'll make sure they'll be like, have y'all seen Demetra? Be tied up somewhere.
Right. And then you got to remember, and Demetra's been on political campaigns before. To run for office takes a lot of money. This is how they marginalize the majority of. There's no longer going to be this grassroots person that's just like you, that's working a 9 to 5, and he's a part-time politician, but his main job is to work another. It's like these pastors. Back in the day, pastors had a job other than preaching. Now it takes thousands of dollars to even run at the local level. It shouldn't take no more than, in my city, 20 years ago, it took no more than $5,000 to run for office if you wanted to run. You want how much it costs now in my city? Over $50,000 to run for office.
That's crazy. That is crazy. I mean, it's a, city council, mayor, whatever. But yeah, like you said, they coming out with these big giant war chests, right? All these big old signs and stuff. And a lot of people are like, oh, okay, well, I've seen that sign everywhere. That must mean they're a good person to vote for. Reality say, this is why the homeless population in New York City is so high. They keep the people in the shelters, can't produce, no jobs, just living in despair. Yeah, like a lot of y'all said, Donovan said, hey, Catherine, how you doing? There's a lot of reasons why people are homeless. There's some people who are on drugs, but I think that gets overly simplified. Oh, people stop doing drugs. That ain't everybody. And in fact, I don't even think that's most people who are homeless. It's just a lot of people who can't afford to live in a house. And there's a lot of people who have a job, right? They have a job and a Planet Fitness membership so they can go up in there, take a shower, whatever, before work, because they don't have a place to do that. It is ridiculously expensive to live anywhere without having to work a bunch of jobs. And then There goes the quality of life. You may never see your children because you work. It's just a lot, right? And it's sad because will it ever get better? It's getting worse. Now, I'll give you guys a perfect example. I don't know what's going on, but my daughter and I went to Walmart yesterday just to get a few things, and the self-checkout was almost empty. And some other places throughout the store, just empty, like they don't have no water, not the water we want to drink anyway, right? And it was been like that for like 2 weeks. So we both was like, okay, what's really going on here? Now, I know they said a lot of tariffs got things to do with it. I'm not really for sure, but it's really starting to look scary out there, you know? So it's going to be a lot of homeless people, unfortunately. And Catherine says, oh, no, not on Heavenly Father's side for sure. Watch that demon. Easy says, D, back during Hurricane Harvey, FEMA camps made some homeless people disappear. What they do with them? What happened to them? Tracy says pricing out is the main reason for homelessness. Now, yeah, and then they don't talk about these corporations that are buying up all these houses, right? And their goal, from what I understand,
Blackwater's the main one that's doing.
They're trying to make people renters for life, right? Because the houses, California, what a median price is $800,000.
So, ladies, that means technically I'm a millionaire. So.
Yeah, you can let some ladies live rent free. You got a couple bedrooms up in there. Open up your bedrooms, Donovan. Emmy says, them white folks are the biggest druggies. Michelle says, I think the housing market has priced people out of owning a house in a lot of these states. Yeah, almost all of them, right? Def knows how you doing. Says $20 for a Taco Bell combo. I wish I would. I haven't eaten Taco Bell. I don't know last time. I'm scared. I'm scared to eat Taco Bell, but I damn sure ain't finna be giving them no $20 for nothing. Taco burritos and tacos, $20. What they got up there for $20? I saw what McDonald's was now. They were, lowering the prices on their menu, and I think it's like $8 or something. Like, what the hell for a combo? And I think that's probably like one or two of them, right? But I guess normally their combos were like $15 for McDonald's for some pink slime and cardboard.
Yeah, Jack in the Box out here is doing the same thing too. There's a lot of them are coming down because people can't afford to eat there anymore. And then with the EBT cards about to be slashed, some of them have already started being slashed in whatever municipality you're in. Come October 1st, they're not going to get the federal funding. A lot of the moms that were going to McDonald's that accepted EBT can't do it anymore. So it's crazy.
Yeah, Dwayne, let me tell you something. That's about what I spent in Walmart. And it was about 2 bags, right? I'm like, golly, back in the day, you could, even before the Biden administration, you could, $70 a stretch, especially in Walmart. But it's like, man.
Wait, did you guys get the bags for free, or are you guys paying 10 cents like we do here in California?
We getting the bags for free. It's the least they can.
Okay. Yeah, see, California, they won't even give you the damn bags anymore. You got to pay for the bags, 10 cents per bag.
Yeah, and that's when you just bring your own, right? Let's see.
Yeah, and real quick, yes, for those of you guys that don't know, here in California, at least Southern California, a lot of fast food restaurants accept EBT.
Don't do that. Don't eat there. You go on and get you some rice, some beans, some meat. That's high as hell. Make it stretch. Man, I said, just give me food stamps for like 2-3 months, man. I'll be stocked up. I have a freezer full of meat, all kind of stuff, right? I'm not, and a lot of these states, they're like, nah, y'all ain't getting no more Zuzus and Wham Whams up in here. Now you will not get a Twinkie on the EBT. You ain't getting no Coke and no Pepsi. You're not getting none of that, okay?
And there's nothing worse than walking into a so-called black restaurant, let's say a Popeyes or a Church's, and there's nothing but Hispanics. and the food tastes different for some reason. I'm not saying it's their fault, but I'm just saying it doesn't have that flair. And then Demetra, I'm not lying. I went out to the Popeyes the other day down the street from my house. I walk in there and they're playing the Tejano music. I'm thinking, how is this Popeyes?
Love that chicken for Popeyes. Si, se prueba. Virgo, how you doing? Says, I had the bottom fall out of my car, broke down with snowballing to losing my job. Starting over isn't easy and can lead to periods of homelessness. Yeah, and people don't talk about that. As I said, most Americans are held probably not even a paycheck at this point away from poverty or homelessness, right? A lot of people just cannot afford a misstep. And that's a lot of times how it happens. And I hate that homelessness, if you will, gets the conversation of people, oh, they just ain't doing this and they ain't spending any money, right? It's like, nah, stop doing that. Because there's people who are doing the right thing and, you know, something like that happened. So we should stop demonizing people, because I always say, there, but for the grace of God, there goes I, right? Which means I'm glad that it's not me, but that don't mean it couldn't be me, right? So I'm never going to thumb my nose at people who are in a situation of despair. Never. You crazy, Easy, talking about that Taco Bell meat is synthetic. Yeah, I'm scared to eat a Taco Bell. I don't know why. I don't know.
I don't eat fast food when I go to New York. With all those rats running around there, I don't eat any fast food up in New York. I'm not saying it's bad. I like New York. It's great. It's a very popular city, but I do not eat fast food.
We're going to leave that one alone. Well, and how you doing? Since there were McDonald's that accept EBT, I don't know if it's in California, whatever the case is. I've heard some fast food restaurants do. I don't know how they justify it, but Trump and them is going to say, yeah, y'all won't be getting another French fry from McDonald's on EBT. Just skipping down because I see that we are out of time. Chalk Chick says Popeyes is like this. It says in Cali for sure. You walk in, you'll see Mexicans and Indians from India, up in Popeyes, which is crazy, right? But you don't see a lot of them in Taco Bell. Interesting. Mundo, you say, the one thing I don't do is get vegetables of any kind from Walmart. Something wrong with their produce. It just is. Yeah, a lot of their produce is kind of wonky, right? I don't know why it is, but yeah, the regular grocery stores, they seem to be all right. But even then, fruits and vegetables is kind of crazy. So yeah, we're starting to see some pretty tough times coming. So I don't know. Like I said, my daughter, she likes beans, but she's not a big fan of them. But even she was like, yeah, we need to be going to get us some navy beans, right? We need to be, and we have a whole bunch of them, but we need to be stocking up on that stuff. I was like, yeah, you're right, because ain't no telling.
And if you're not old school, can do it in the pot on top of the stove, get you a crock pot. Y'all better get that crock pot. If you sisters that don't, you're working, so you don't have time to cook like that, get you that damn crock pot.
Yeah, well, I got all that crock pot. Dan, what's that doggone thing I bought you? I forget the name. Huh? That burgundy thing.
Oh, that's a Dutch oven.
A Dutch oven. That goes to show you how much I use it, right? Catherine says, I lived in a woman's homeless shelter. You wouldn't believe how many visitors came to interview us who thought we were all drug addicts and drunks. Yeah, it's like, I'm not doing no drugs. I'm just here because, like somebody said my car broke down or something or whatever. I had a mishap and I couldn't afford to stay in the house, so I'm here. But it's just crazy, and we need to dispel that myth that, oh, if you homeless, you must be a crackhead or whatever. John Q, how you doing? He says, Donovan, stop it. He says, as long as it was Pookie and Ray Ray, it was all good. Now we're all Pookies. Come on now. Some white Pookies. Listen, they the triple OG Pookie, right? Don't ever get it twisted. They are the original Pookies of the earth, whether we believe it or not. But yeah, everybody's starting to experience. And then, what's crazy too is we're starting to hear a lot of people from other races talking about, hey, why don't we just work together? Y'all want to work together with us? They weren't talking like that before, but now they like,
no, me black. Yeah, me from Dominica, but me black now. Me black.
Right.
No, we black.
Little us. Y'all want to work together with us? Mm-hmm. Because y'all know we're gonna make $1 out of 15 cents. Okay. Brenda, how you doing? Says that wild.
But real quick, Demetria, but this all ties back into the Communist Manifesto. What countries turned to communism when there was nothing else left? The French Revolution. What was it based on? The land. The French people were so damn poor, they rose up against the bourgeoisie, right? The Russian Revolution, they rose up against the bourgeoisie. The Chinese, they rose up against the bourgeoisie. The people are going to get pressed so badly that they're going to have no other choice but to do a few killings and try a new system.
Oh yeah, we're seeing that happen right now. As our brother Facts Not Feeling said, I mean, France is burning. France is on fire. They're like, I know y'all saw in Nepal where they ran the prime minister out of there, like literally ran him down the street, stripped his doggone clothes off, and ran him into the water, right? Because he cut off their social media. And he was like, I was just playing. They was like, well, since we're already here, we got the party started, we gonna continue, right? And so, but you're gonna start to see that all over. Trust and believe.
Read the Communist Manifesto. If you can't get the book, you can get excerpts on Google. Just read the Communist Manifesto.
There's listen to it on YouTube. The ebook, I mean, the audio book is on YouTube.
Yeah, just and it every time. Cuba, what did they do in Cuba? The people rose up against the bourgeoisie because they got taxed and just priced out of everything so badly that they had no other choice.
Yeah. African Native, thank you so much, love, and appreciate you for the super sticker. And we do have ways to donate to the channel if you see fit. But again, as we get out of here, at the very least, please like and subscribe. And thank you to the moderators for asking everybody to do that. It is much appreciated. And Michelle says, yeah, now they want to work together. Now that Trump is treating them like us. Yeah, we need to band together. Huh? Okay. Y'all lead the way.
Didn't Lulac say, let the black man have his problem, let the Hispanics have their problem? Didn't he say that in 1960s? The black man's problem is not my problem. Didn't he say that?
Yeah, 1950s said it. Asha, you says EBT, cash, or food stamps, because we did. When did they allow hot foods on EBT? Yeah, they. I know in California they did. I don't know about anywhere else. But
you guys got to understand, this is a super democratic state. Why wouldn't they allow EBT at fast food restaurants? Think about it. Think about where I'm at. I'm in California. They want to give money to illegal immigrants because they're afraid to go to work. That's crazy.
I'm afraid to go to work too. Give me some money. You know, boy, I tell you. Both parties, says Dimitri, the country is in deep, deep trouble. Yeah, and everybody else is starting to realize it. And see, when we were saying it, it's like, oh, you chicken littles, you keep talking about the sky is falling and it's not falling. And now that the sky is falling, they're like, hey, Black Americans, what we need to do is band together. You know, honestly, that is the solution, right? But it's going to happen eventually. Again, as Donovan said, if you read the Communist Manifesto, it's going to happen. Whether you're black, white, gay, straight, Muslim, Christian, whatever it is, those of us that are not the oligarchy, the 1%, we're going to have to start having those conversations. Hey, imagine, check this out before I leave, okay? Imagine if everybody, white, black, you know, Hispanic, whatever you are, say, hey, you know what? After oligarchy, we ain't spending no money this week. We're not buying no food. We're not eating out. We get your gas and, you know, and carpool, whatever. We ain't spending no money for a week. Man, we bring I'm talking about everybody, right? Even if Black Americans do, but if everybody did and say just 1 week, the government would be like, hey, listen, we're going to send Carolyn, wasn't there, and leave it, whatever, the press secretary out to everybody. And what is it that you want? Reparations? How much? Oh, 30 trillion. We got
put it on the credit card, no problem. Yeah.
You know what? It would print them $30 trillion, you know, and whatever else, right? They stopped the foolishness, but we're all so brainwashed into thinking. I remember talking about the teams. I'm team this, I'm team that. But imagine if we all got on the same team. The oligarchy would be like, Jeff Amazon be like, listen. Not a package went out of the damn warehouse. What is me and Lauren gonna do? You know, imagine.
And imagine this. Remember back in the 1960s, who was with us when we were protesting civil rights? You had the Jews that were right with us. You had the Hispanics. You had all these people fighting for civil rights together. Then once they got theirs and they delineated, they left us holding the bag. Isn't that strange? They got theirs and they said, oh, well, we're together. We were with them, but things are changing.
Because civil rights was a money grab. It was a money grab for everybody else. We're like, you mean I can live next to white people? Yeah, they gonna leave when you get there, right? White flight. They gonna leave when you get there, but yeah, you know, and they wanted our money. As Dr. Claude Anderson explained, it was never about we gonna give you equal rights because we think you're special, you Negro. It was about the money, right? And as Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, why would the slave master make the slave equal to them? That doesn't make any sense. So was he really even interested in giving you with the so-called civil rights or equal rights? And he also said, how you gonna get civil rights when you ain't even got human rights? They don't even see you as human, but you went along with it. Oh, I'm gonna get some civil rights. Most people probably thought it was silver. I don't know. Maybe they misheard. Anyway, let's see. Willie, how you doing? Hope that you are well. Jesus Christ is the truth. He says, yes, let's do a whole month where we don't buy anything, stock up for it, and let's do it. I mean, I'm just saying it could all be so simple, but we want to continue to fight amongst each other. Both parties says, just like every other group, whites are not a monolith. I agree with you. I'm not saying all whites are the same, but I tell you one thing, if it was against your black ass and them, they sure gonna be the same. I don't care if they come from Europe, Australia, wherever, they gonna get together like the West Coast All-Stars and talking about we all in the same game. Okay, that wasn't a gang sign. I don't think it was anyway. Jesus Christ. There's two Jesus Christ on here. Okay, one of y'all's an imposter. But how you doing? Easy says, D, what's on the stove tonight? Hey, you know what? For real. I'm gonna tell y'all. I was talking about doing some like damn, what was I gonna call it? I don't even remember. Recession cooking or something. Recession cooking. So the other day, you know, you could go to Sam's Club and they got these little chickens. They $4 or something. So every once in a while I get that. So we ate most of it. And then I took the bones with what was left on it. It was still quite a bit of meat. Put it in the pot with some seasoning and stuff, some water, let that boil down a little bit. And I chopped up some vegetables and put it in there. My daughter calls this mom cooking. Like you just throw stuff in the pot, vegetables, let that cook down a little bit. Then I put some couple of split peas in there. It's like split pea soup type of thing. Made that early this morning. It was pretty damn good, I shall say. And we'll eat on that tomorrow and probably Tuesday if there's some left. So that's what I made today. Nothing spectacular, but it was good. We're going to have to learn how to do some recession cooking. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what I did.
And we're not talking about just that small pot. Remember grandma had the big pot and everybody took from the pot. Of course, it went by, I don't know if you guys, but when I was growing up, it went by levels. The people that were working got to eat first. Then, you know, you get down and then the kids and so on and so forth.
Donovan, you telling your age now, because that's like you work like you going to eat like you work. I didn't work today. It was my day off. Well, guess what? It's your stomach's day off too. I'm just playing. But it's a big pot, right? So we just got to be resourceful and figure out how to do things, whatever. You know, don't let Donovan fool you. I know he's a man of the world. He eats here and there and everywhere. But Donovan know how to make him a pot of red beans, okay, and rice. Yeah, there's been times I go over your house, I'm like, that smells good. What I'm making? What are you making? Red beans and rice from scratch. Now he do like a glory green in a can every once in a while. I said, stop doing that, okay? But Donovan could turn on his crock pot, sure will. Easy says,
that's because I can't find a woman who knows how to cook anymore in our generation. It's a lost art. It really is.
I know a woman that was cooking for you. There was a woman that I would go over Donovan's house and where you get that from? Oh, girl, you know, she made me some food, brought me some. Donovan just be lying.
Well, there's a few. I didn't say they all. I said there's been a few, but a lot of them, the ones that I want.
Right.
Yeah, the ones that I want can't cook.
The ones you want are bony because they can't cook. Right? And then he talking about, well, you know, why don't you cook me something? Hot dog water is not really food, homie. You know what I mean? So the girls that he want, that know what to do with a crock pot, a skillet, or whatever. He don't want them. Whatever.
Well, you know, I mean, I have nothing against calorie challenged women. It's just that when they have too many calories. The calorie count is just a little too high, you know?
You evil. Just evil. Ashley says he made a crock pot of greens last week. They were delicious. My daughter won't let anybody make greens in the family anymore because my mom, who was gone on, R.I.P. to her, she was the only one, as far as in her opinion, that could make greens. And she's like, don't y'all ever disrespect my grandmama again by trying to make no greens. You ain't gonna do it right. So nobody's made me greens in the family. She's like, don't do it. So I haven't made greens. I don't know if we've had any in the family since my mom has left, and that was 2016. Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna be here forever acting crazy. But yeah, hey Timothy, how you doing? Says darn shame these women can't cook. Can these men cook? What if you never saw a woman ever again in civilization? Can you cook for yourself?
Yeah, you know what's crazy though? There has been statistics where you're seeing men are cooking more than the women nowadays, and I guess that's because the roles are slowly being reversed a little bit, where the guys are doing more domestic for themselves, and, and their mom's teaching them a little bit more so that. But yeah, statistics are showing that they are cooking more. Men are cooking more.
She said you up in here looking at white women.
Now, Dimitri, I need you to correct her on that. Donovan never. I'm like 7-Up. Never have, never will.
Yeah, no, that the woman, Donovan's had a few women that want to cook for him, that was cooking for him. I'm telling you, go over there, he got a whole little bowl of something that she done made up. Like, she's a nice girl. Yeah, but she did it. Dude, you eat? No, okay? As Childish Gambino said, are you eating though? Okay? You eating. But again, you want a bony chick.
No, I need a chick that I can look at. I mean, put it like this. If you're going to cook for me and you give me my plate and then you take the whole pot.
That's what you want.
Chicken with Kaya. That's what I want.
Yeah, right. But Kaya's taken. Okay, you better get what you can, especially at your own.
I'm sure she has an OnlyFans. We could do something on the side, do some meetups.
And some meetups. Okay, she gonna be like, we gonna meet at Ruth Chris on your dime. Yeah, my daughter, she's like, y'all can't make no greens. Jesus Christ, she says broccoli and green beans are the green I like. Yeah, I like green beans. But not the kind that our ancestors used to make, right? One day I went over to my sister's house. My sister could cook. And she's like, I'm gonna make some green beans. I'm like, okay, because she lives in Florida. I'm gonna make some green beans. All right, cool. When I tell you, she reached and got that pot of grease that be on the stove that you collect all the grease from, and she poured in the green beans. I'm like, what kind of green beans it all? I'm like, you might as well just fry me some chicken or something. Yeah, I think men cook better. Yeah. Men, I don't have a problem with eating what you cook. Now, I will say I had an ex-husband. I was married for 10 months. He thought he was going to cook for me one day, right? He made some top ramen, and he put some butter in the top ramen with the seasoning. I said, I'm not eating that. I'll take your word for it, but I'm not. You ain't finna kill me today. So, yeah. But my daughter's father, he's a chef. He could cook. He's a really... he's a trained chef, so he can cook. PDM1 was going on. Says Donovan playing hard to get right, and then he talking about where the women at. She was cooking for you, just didn't want to be with her. She too this, she too that.
When you're when you're calorie challenged, I have an issue with that. I can't do it.
She had a little meat on the bones, but it wasn't. You could have taken her around the block. Y'all could have, there's a park around up the street. You could have taken her for a walk, like there.
And then I got to hear 101 excuses why she can't go. She can't do this. She can't. I can't do it. Can't do it.
When you get a little older, them calorie challenge women gonna start looking real good.
Then why is Miss Sweet Talk at her age looking the way she does? Please explain that.
What does that mean?
That's what I'm saying. She's still looking the way.
What you mean looking the way she does?
Miss Sweet Talk still looks nice and fine and ready to go.
Oh, yeah, no, Jesus Christ, that top ramen with butter, I just was not finna do it. But yeah. Listen, a seasoned women, I know Miss Sweet ain't as seasoned as I am, right? We still got it going on, okay? We're just a little up there in age, but we still got it going on, but y'all don't act right. So we cooks for ourselves, right? Cooks for ourselves. Miss Sweet says, can you barbecue is the question, man. Right, because they be burning up some meat. Easy says, I cannot eat everyone's cooking, just a precaution. No, and you shouldn't, right? Because some people be doing too much. Donovan is crazy, talking about some calorie challenge. So anyway, he'll be all right though. He's no longer, he's fired. I'm gonna find him a nice I don't know about Christian because he's a heathen and I don't know how much holy water she got. But I'm gonna find him a nice woman. Now remember, we tried to find Donovan a woman. We had an auction going on. The auction, we had a pretty good amount for Donovan. It was like $5 or something like that. But then he got to run in his mouth, and then the auction dropped to like 57 cents or something. And then I couldn't even give him away. So maybe we'll auction Donovan off again. What did he say? Yeah, I'll take out to eat. She could get some 2 for 1. It's like,
Look, I remember there was a time when when people used to make fun of me because I used to bring my coupons. Now everybody's like, "Oh, Donovan's so smart. He brings his coupons when he goes to a restaurant."
I don't have a problem with a man bringing a coupon because that means you got more money for me, right? We don't need to break the bank at Taco Bell. You can bring the coupon. I don't have a problem with a frugal man. I'm gonna say this before we leave because I had this conversation with somebody. Y'all gonna get me to act as stupid on here. For real, Miss Sweezy, I was getting the money. Right? I was gonna get a bag, a whole $5, but he said that them women was like, listen, there's a difference between being frugal and being cheap. Donovan is frugal, okay? He's not cheap. Donovan, he spends money when Donovan be buying stuff. He like, I almost said the N word. I don't even be doing that on here. You don't need that. Yeah, why are you buying it? Because man, do you, right? So he don't have a problem, but he's very frugal, okay? Donovan could eat out every night and not miss the money, but he's like, you know what? I'm going to do this pot of beans, okay? Not cheap.
Now, when I go overseas,
he
there's nothing worse, in my opinion, than seeing people on vacation and they're penny pinching money. There's nothing worse than that to me.
I penny pinch money now because I ain't got it like you. Okay, we went to South Africa, and the time is so different. So my daughter and I was like, we need to catch up on our rest. Donovan, I don't even know if he's asleep. I think he's like a bat or something. But anyway, so we was gonna meet him at the restaurant. So he got there about an hour or so before we did, and we turned into the restaurant and go in there. And he got a table full of ladies. All of that. So me and my daughter went and sat down. Like, okay, he's busy. He didn't see us though, right? So after the dinner was over, the time with the ladies, this fool is literally walking down the street dancing, right? We're like, hello, right? Another time, he's across the street at the bar. He's like, drinks on me. Because he's like, we're in South Africa. It's a little, I could do that here. But he's not cheap. But I'm telling you, cheap people irk me. And I'm frugal. I'm not cheap, but I'm frugal. But cheap people talking about, listen, I bought 2-ply tissue. And what we're going to do is we're going to split it apart. Okay. And now we got 2 rolls of tissue. That's cheap. But yeah, so anyway.
And if you guys ever go to South Africa, they have this beer there. The ladies, you guys would love this beer. It's called Flying Fish. It is sweet. It is just, it was so good. Even Demetra tried it. Demetra was like, woo.
And I don't drink. But that beer,
right.
I was toe up at that beer tour. Tore up. When I say I was toe up.
Yeah, we were at that brewery for a couple hours, right?
Yeah, drunk. And I don't even drink. Like, I was drunk. Hits, how you doing? Says, when you see the coupons, do you save the difference? Or do you, you
actually do see the difference. Like I said, if you get the 2 for 1, what I mean? You really do if you're using coupons. You really do. Depending if you're a name brand person, which most coupons, it's name brand stuff. Yeah, if you want to treat yourself, you do see the difference. You really do.
And ladies, don't give a man a hard time if he's using a coupon. You want a man to use a coupon because that means he know how to save money, right? Why? That's just, I don't like no man to use coupons because I just something about a coupon. But like, you ain't gonna have no pawns, right? If I was a man, I'm like, you ain't having no pawns. I don't care what kind they are. You use your imagination with that. Anyway, Jerron Hyden says someone actually wants to delete homeless people and call themselves civilized. And that's a word right there. Anyway, love and appreciate y'all. We're gonna get out of here. I will see y'all tomorrow, as I will be here. And listen, y'all can also catch me on African Diaspora News Channel live from Tuesday and Wednesday at 11 p.m. Central Time. I'm going to be there half an hour. I'm going to try. Y'all know I'll be running my mouth, so I'm going to try to do it half an hour live. So I'm going to be over there Tuesday and Wednesday starting this. I think this is Tuesday and Wednesday. Don't quote me, but yeah, I'll be over there. It's going to be a lot of fun. So anyway, love and appreciate every last one of y'all, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Peace.